All right, we are all packed and we are heading on our next adventure. Now this trip, we're not going to an Ontario park. Instead, we're going to go visit a HipCamp location. I know we like to bring you guys new options and alternatives. So these two, you're looking cute, buddy, are joining us for the trip, and we are going to go check out a HipCamp near Markdale.
With a solo site and pond.
So let's go. All right, we have arrived. Now you park, as you see, up here. And then walk down to where the pond is. So obviously this is a site that's not going to work if you're, trailer camping. It is definitely a tent camping opportunity, but check this out. Such a cute little spot here. It looks like somebody's rebuilt the fire pit at some point, because there's like 2 fire pits down here. Lucifer is howling in the background. And then here is the little pond area that I'm sure he is going to love. This is the site. So one of the cool things about this site that we saw people mentioning in the reviews is the number of frogs here in the pond. We got this little guy here, and just looking up, you can see there's one over there. They're just like happily chilling, enjoying the pond, swimming around. And there's so many of them. Everywhere we turn, you hear them. It's kind of a cool experience. And this is why we booked this site. The enthusiasm with which he goes into that water.
Good boy, bud.
Good boy, Goose. Mummy's little otter, eh? This? That a boy. Good boy. Good boy. Get a cattle dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. There's something so relaxing about a fire, especially now that the fire ban's been lifted. But a fire paired with listening to the frogs and seeing them jump here in the pond just makes it that much more peaceful. Bright and early, and with the breeze, it feels more like fall than summer this morning. But I wanted to show you guys kind of quickly how we set up the site so you could see what you could do with this site. So right here, I have the hammock that Lucifer and I love. I adore just laying there and listening to the frogs, reading my book, and he likes to be able to watch the frogs and cuddle. Unfortunately for me, that also means that he goes swimming and then comes out completely soaked to cuddle, but that's okay. We made the best of it. And then we've got the tent over there. We did sleep last night without the rain fly on because there was no rain being called for. It was really nice to have that breeze coming through the tent and to be able to listen to the frogs all night long. And then we did set up our Kuma gazebo over here. It barely fits. You can see it's touching the trees on the side. If you have anything bigger than that, you definitely would have a hard time setting it up here. It's not the biggest space, but it works perfectly for us to be able to just hang out. You can see we've kind of piled a couple things inside on the table there because it's supposed to rain. So we're starting to hunker down and just make sure everything goes in there safe, that we don't want to get wet. But we are getting a fire rolling so that we can boil some water and make some coffee.
Because this guy forgot the camp stove. It was on the list.
It's a good thing we are not under a fire ban because, yep, he didn't bring a camp stove, so we are cooking and boiling water and everything over the fire today. But just one more shot of that pond. It is so pretty. There are so many frogs, and some really big ones came out last night, which is really kind of cool to see. I'll have John put a picture up in the corner here of one that I captured last night, a photo of. But yeah, it's kind of a unique experience and absolutely love it.
My heart will go on.
Well, the wind is starting to come in. We know we're expecting rain, and it is quite gray. But we have the fire going, and we are all set up in here. We got the puppy pads, the white ground town mat, which is Willow's favorite, and Lucifer's We Can Go Outdoors mat here. John's got his chair. I have my Kuma chair. And we're under our Kuma Bear Den gazebo. I know, a lot of product placement. None of them are paying us for this video. They're just things we love and therefore want to share. But we're all set. And if it happens to rain, that's cool. We'll just hang out here and still enjoy the fire anyway.
Okay, I'm cooking on the not wood stove. On the fire pit. So tonight we are doing taters, which they've been going for a little while.
Nice try, Goose.
But you can see that they are done.
Nice try, Goose.
And then over here we got, they are done, but they are Brussels sprouts. And then, right here,
my favorite.
Getting smoke in the face, which, I mean, going by the texture of it, maybe another 5-10 minutes.
Not for you, buddy.
5 minutes.
And here we go. We got potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and salmon. Willow's still curious about the fire. But we're enjoying the food, and he's begging for it. You're a spoiled boy. He's a spoiled boy. Now, before anybody feels bad for these two, we kind of have a routine in our house. Anytime that we make salmon, we save the skin to go on their meals. So they are not being left out. Do not let them fool you. They are in no way hard to buy.
Help me, please. Help me.
I think they approve. Is that one? Come and go. Well, it's pack-up day. Our Kuma gazebo's already down. We're heading over to take down the tent next, and of course, it's raining. I mean, what would a camping trip be without a little rain, right? But that's okay. I'm going to help John take down the tent, and then I have a couple things I just want to address about this site before we leave. Alright, the first thing I wanted to address quickly is that there's a lot of comments on the HipCamp listing about garbage when you first arrive. And there is a pile of, like, building supplies and that kind of stuff here. It's right up by where you park. I wouldn't say garbage, but there definitely is something here. But once you pass by it, like, it's literally right up where you park. And then once you pass by it, no more. And you can see we're still like a fair distance from the site itself, so it's not like you have to stare at it the whole time you're camping, but it is there, so just to acknowledge that it is present. The second thing everybody wants to know about is the bathroom situation. So you can see here, if you head over in this direction from the campsite itself, there is an outhouse. And I mean, the one perk about this compared to Ontario Parks is that it is obviously just yours, because there's only the one site here on the property. It is a long drop or a vault toilet. There's toilet paper. Currently there's also bug spray in there. But it's well kept. It's, you know, an outhouse. And it's not too far from where you're going to be camping. But that's all she wrote. We are just getting the last of the stuff down. John's over there taking down the tarp. And the rain is supposed to get heavier, so we're going to call it at that. I'm going to go help him fold the tarp up. We're going to get on our way. Say goodbye, Willow.
Bye, buddy.
Okay, so obviously this trip wasn't to a park like we normally do.
No.
But we still want to do the whole roundup and discussion with you guys. And we're still going to do a paw rating because it is a great alternative. If you're looking for somewhere different, if you're looking for somewhere a little less busy, or if you just can't book a provincial park, because we all know that that can be difficult.
Yeah, no comment there.
So go ahead and take it away.
All right, so to get to this HipCamp, we are not going to share the exact location for it, but it is just outside of Markdale, about 10-15 minutes outside of Markdale, which is also, Markdale Central is a half hour south of Owen Sound and about 2.5 hours northwest of Toronto.
Now, the reason we're not sharing the location is because with HipCamp, as an added protection measure for the property owners, when you book a HipCamp site, you don't actually get the exact location until you've actually like booked and paid and your trip's almost like it's almost time for your trip. So out of respect for the owner of the property, if you went to go look at the HipCamp listing, it's just going to say Markdale. So we're going to just leave it at Markdale and not get any more specific.
Yeah.
So then that takes us to the campsite. Obviously, this part of the conversation is a little different because there aren't a whole lot of campsites to talk about or different campgrounds. Or
No.
There's one site. Technically, there's two parts depending on what you're traveling with. So as you saw in the video, when you drive in, there's a section up there that you could park if you're camping with an RV or a trailer, High Willow's Tail. Or there is a whole bunch of areas down around the pond if you are a tent camper. So, okay, sorry, we had to do some adjustments here. This one wanted up and Willow was in the way and it was a whole thing. But as I was saying, there's a lot of areas around the pond that you can pitch a tent or a dining shelter. The pond itself is full of frogs. So if you have young kids who like searching for frogs and trying to catch them, it's perfect. We saw so many of them. If you have a dog that's curious, that's great. It kept him really busy. However, I will caution that frogs and toads sometimes can carry some pretty big risks for dogs if they tend to actually catch them. So if your dog's like Lucifer, he was really curious, he'd get really close, but the second that they moved, he backed off because he was also scared. It's a great entertainment. Otherwise, you're going to have to keep an eye on your pup. But the biggest thing I think about this HipCamp that it has to offer is the privacy. It's just you. Just you and your family. If you have a reactive dog, you don't have to worry about other campers or people coming to the water to swim or even just going to the bathroom like you have your own outhouse. So these HipCamp properties are a great option for those of us who have a dog that gets a little bit more nervous or uncomfortable around those types of situations.
Okay. And firewood. So firewood, it's not provided. You can't purchase from them. There are some HipCamps that do have that, but this particular site did not have that. So best options are hardware stores in Markdale and grocery stores in Markdale. Also, you can check out if there's going to be any roadside vendors selling wood. We did see some roadside vendors.
Obviously, those change from year to year.
Yeah.
And we can't get too specific with those roadside vendors because that would give away where the HipCamp itself is. But if you drive around that area, there were roadside vendors selling wood as well. We just want to stress one more time that you only get your wood in that local area. So if you're coming from Toronto, wait till you're closer. If you're coming from Windsor, don't bring your wood all the way from Windsor. Wait till you're closer because that stops the spread of things like the ash borer. We've all seen the impact that the spread of the ash borer beetle has had on, the outdoor spaces we love. And so by sticking just to local wood, you're minimizing that risk.
Yeah. And
HipCamp. We just wanted to talk about HipCamp in general as a topic because there are some other things to consider with this that are a little bit different than the provincial parks. Obviously, you are renting from a private person. This is their private property. So you don't have park wardens and that whole structure behind you. However, HipCamp itself as an app, as a platform, does have some different things that it does to help protect you and to step in if it needs to. But you are taking a bit of a chance booking a private property. That said, there are ratings, for example, on HipCamp where you can find somebody who has, consistently rated higher and people have a great experience. There are user ratings of others and photos that you can check to see if a site is going to work well for you. We find that the HipCamp properties, if you're looking for something private, it's easier to find it there than in a provincial park more often than not, especially if you're trying to book somewhere that's busier. So if, for example, you really, really, really want to go to Killbear and see the Killbear tree, spoiler, that's our next review. But if you really, really, really want to see the Killbear tree and Killbear is completely booked, there are likely HipCamps that are close enough nearby that you could go there for the day and see the Killbear tree and still camp, even though there aren't campsites in Killbear available. So HipCamp is another great option. The link will be in the description for you if that's something that you're checking out for the first time. And we will have the link to this exact HipCamp. We highly recommend it if you're looking for something in the Markdale area because obviously we've done the work of vetting it for you. So that's a little bit easier than taking a chance on one that, maybe you haven't seen anybody visit. But there are a lot of other people who are sharing on social media platforms or on YouTube the HipCamps that they're exploring. So there are other places that you can check and see if a campsite that you're considering is available and has been covered before, just to give you that peace of mind. That said, this specific campsite, paw rating, I was thinking, like, they don't have hiking trails. There is the ability for a dog to swim. I don't know that I would want to swim in the pond because it was, you know, a little murky. There's the frogs there for kids, which is a great option. The privacy is a huge plus. Having your own private outhouse is a huge plus. I'm thinking maybe just weighing the pros and cons of 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
So there we go. 3.5 paws out of 5. If you are not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell for notifications. That's going to tell you when we post a video. As I already said, we do have a review for Kill Bear coming up. We also have the Outdoor Adventure Show coming up, and we have acquired some gear that we're going to be doing some of our first gear reviews on here. So you're going to want to check that out. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on anything. And in the spirit of HipCamp, if you are a hip camper and you do enjoy HipCamp, and there is a site that you recommend to other dog-friendly travelers, feel free to drop it in the comments. Let's all help each other out and find places that we can take our pups and enjoy our adventures together. So I'll include in my description some other options that we've found, but feel free to share your favorites in the comments.
And in saying that, I don't have a mug, but stay toasty!